very bad at ending things in general. Very connected to our acceptance of death, the acceptance of the feminine, and it's that's process that we go through every month, and that we learn from our own blood, and also from I had two miscarriages also before, and also the not honoring the also that we are also carriers of death in a way. We carry all the cycles, and it's all beautiful, and it's all part of life. Death is part of life. There would not be life without death. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I would love to hear maybe some men.
We have Jean-Sébastien here who's ready to go.
There are 4 things you need to be doing to attract high ticket.
None of that you are supposed to be doing.
Hi. Thank you for being so generous with us today and bring this topic forward. I was raised in an environment with strong women, but with a very strong patriarchal pattern. And that's true on my mom's side, but also my dad and my grandparents. And I spent most of my life, I would say up to the last 4 years, completely disconnected from my emotions. So not really knowing what emotions were as a direct experience. And so the way the feminine has manifested for me has been in this, what I called it the sensory experience, so this movement of energy that I've become aware of from this place of awareness or presence. And the journey has been to expand this presence so that it can receive more of this energy that wants to flow up. So all of these stuck emotions that we call anger and sadness and rage and whatever word you want to apply to them. And I've been very fortunate to be put in situations where I've been able to witness this energy flowing in the context of myself. So a lot of processing of my own emotions, but also my wife. So I've been married with my wife for 30 years. We have 5 children together. Of course, she lived with a man that was completely disconnected from his emotions. To have circle, I work with a lot of.
There are 4 things you need to be doing to.
But
healthy place, not from toxic feminine to toxic masculine, which is most of the expression today. And we were actually talking about that because we're going to start a women's circle for power. Someone's going to start a men's circle, and then we were talking in synchronicity.
Synchronicity will.
Yes.
There are too many brands, so I think we'll just switch to everything power. But I've not.
Yeah,
I was going slowly.
And then talk about how we can. I think it's important to have our own space to work in, because especially for us women, we feel safer between each other because we are receptive beings, and very often we feel we can communicate in our own energy because we're staying in the emotional realm, and we feel safer. I had experimented myself inviting men into my main circles in New York, in my women's circles in New York, and the energy shifts completely. It's just like all women are like, and then this thing comes of like how they look like, and then like closing up. We just close up because just need to do the work to feel that we can be completely open and vulnerable, and to trust the masculine for most of us. And I know it's the same for men. I know men's circles that also, when they invite women, they all like start showing off a bit more, and it just changes the energy. So I think it's very valuable to have our own spaces to work in. And I think it's very important to come together and do the work together, because ultimately that is the goal. And that is how we're gonna progress, when we actually can start communicate with each other from a place of no trauma and standing in our own energy as well. So yeah, so we will experiment this with synchronicity slash power.
We are. Can I tell a story here?
Yes.
One of the abuelas, elders that Magdalena worked with, told me once, "What, you have women in your community, in your circles? Kick them out." We talked about this with some of the elders here in the community, and I discussed that. I said, "No, like, and she looked at me. She said, "What do you have to tell to a woman? Like,
what do you know about it?
What do you know?" And nothing, but I like them here, and I really like in this community that there are so many women here. But I would say, but I also do ascendance and moon dance. I hope that's okay for me to say. But I think it's both, like doing the masculine work on one side, medicine work, feminine work, and then being together in a community space is important.
That for a lot of us that are also working on in the spiritual realms, like also when we are in those spaces of the spiritual realms, there's no duality. There's no duality. We're just spirit and bodies experiencing consciousness and experiencing spirit. And so it makes sense for synchronicity, which is about the experiencing the spiritual worlds, to not have gender-related conditions.
You want to take another one? Gino, you want to go? Thank you so much, Jean-Sébastien. And Priyanka, you have something else to say? Okay, let me just go. No? Or can you remove your hand?
The feminine are
Gino.
genes, especially.
Continue.
There are 4 things you need to be doing.
Guys, don't.
No?
Yeah, I'm continuously more and more in awe of all the mothers out there, and I don't understand. After going through my first 6 months of pregnancy, I don't even understand how we don't have statues everywhere for women and mothers to pray to that. It's an incredible service that they do in the world, and I just have a glimpse of it. So yeah, thank you for all of you men that are honoring that in your relationships and honoring the work they do, especially also those of them also working in things. It's incredible, the ability and the power of the feminine, and for men to recognize that. And also I want to say how important it is for those of us that are having children to also initiate the children into that. One of the meditations that I do in my Yin Institute is to go back to our first menstruation. And for many women, it's one of the most defining moments of our lives. And the way we live our first menstruation defines the way we are going to relate to our feminine, to our sexuality, to our bodies in major ways. So if you have the opportunity, if you have teenage kids, to go through that, whatever, if it already happened or not yet, and to actually properly initiate them into what is happening, what it means, and to honor, to help them honor that first blood, and to help them understand what it means, which is basically being carriers of life. Because there's, for 90% of the women that I work with, there was shame at the moment of the first menstruation, and guilt. Can you imagine the world we live in? These are 2 things that come up in women when they feel that menstruation. and for many of them happens sometimes in school or in a car or in a very embarrassing moments. So yeah, so to relearn to honor that aspect of us and not have to hide it, treat it as something that needs to be underneath the bed.
10 years ago, I launched my first online program and it completely failed. And you can probably relate because I felt like I had the best.
I can't hear you anymore.
You want to hear Delphine?
Yes.
Who is from one of our eldest community members. Let's see how I can. So Delphine here. Hey, Delphine, you're up.
Hi, thank you so much for creating that space for this, for me, very fundamental conversation.